Okay, good morning to, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our Tableau User Group webinar for our topic for today's My Career in Analytics. And we have uh, great and uh, guest speakers. And today we will have also uh, guests from Tableau, Southeast Asia, Mrinal. So here's the uh, Manila Tableau User Group leaders. Of course, yours truly and Jason Chung. So all of you, some of you already knows us and some of you are not. And also, I would like to welcome some uh, new attendees and new members from Accenture, AFNI, CBRE, Ericsson Telecommunication, ESSPI, Fisico, Fortune General Insurance, First Advantage Philippines, Generali, Genesis Globe, GV, ICRC, In One Go Technologies, International Pharmaceuticals, JLL, Jollibee Foods, Lexmark, Optum, Picaro, PLDT, Rebisco, and some private companies, Reed, Elsevier Philippines, REPH, Republic Biscuits, Ring Central, Schneider Electric, SIC, Shionogi, some students from University of Santo Tomas, welcome, and I guess some professors and academics in the university, College of Rehab Sciences, Rehabilitation Sciences, Web Fontaine, and W Tech Solutions. Welcome to Tableau User Group Manila webinar. So we have great speakers for today that will share their career in analytics, how they came along with this data career. So please join us and enjoy the sessions. So as an opening introduction, welcome and uh, have a great fun learning. And Mr. Mrinal Daryani, who is the account manager for Tableau Southeast Asia, will uh, help us moderate and to be an MC for these sessions because it's an open talk session or open forum, or and then you can ask anything about us, about the career, and the panelists are yours truly, Jason, and our guest speakers. So to introduce the guest speakers, I will call on Jason Chung. Go ahead, Jason.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jason Chung from Manila. Um, I'd like to introduce our guest speakers for today. Uh, she is Miss Shaira Kim Ceballo. She is a data analyst at Pioneer Insurance, an experienced assistant manager with demonstrated history of working in the insurance industry. In addition, she is skilled in Microsoft Excel, data analysis, Tableau, insurance, and as well as Power BI. A strong professional with a degree Bachelor of Science focused in applied mathematics from University of the Philippines. While our second guest speaker is an analytics and project manager at International Pharmaceuticals. Project lead for the company pertaining to technology advancement, including business intelligence tools, Salesforce automation, GPS-controlled Salesforce, reports generation, paperless projects, collaboration advancement, and initiates technology advancement. Also, he is currently the server administrator of Tableau and reports development. Please welcome Mr. Sherwin Sanico. Sherwin.
Hello, pleasant afternoon to everyone. And thank you for this opportunity to share my analytics. And thank you to Mrinal and to TUG Manila Group. So, hi, I'm Sherwin Sanico. I'm an analytics manager of a pharmaceutical company based in Cebu. And I help make the decision-making efforts of top management easier. I also help out cut down clerical works by more than 60% for both field and office personnel and allow them to focus more on the analysis. How is this so, if you may ask? So, with the help of an efficient tool, of course, for business intelligence, which is Tableau. Business intelligence has been one of the major breakthroughs in business advancement for the past decades and has empowered a lot of companies and businesses. Long gone are the days of spending the past decades, and it has empowered a lot of companies. Long are spending hours on spreadsheets and eventually preparing a report is no longer updated. It's no longer practical nowadays. So BI is no longer an added utility or an advantage, but it was becoming a business requirement for businesses looking to stay competitive. So how did this start in our traditional and conservative company? I say traditional and conservative because our owners are of Chinese inheritance, so they're quite hesitant in investing big bucks on advancements in technology. Well, it took
Sorry, Sherwin. Do you have something
that.
some slides to share?
I know, I'll just speak out now.
Okay, good.
Then, well, it took some time and a lot of convincing for the company to reach at this level of report generation and maturity. Like everyone else, I started with preparing reports via spreadsheets 14 years ago. The process was painstaking considering I had to transpose available data into a structure that is readable in Pivot. This was done on a monthly basis and I had to allocate a number of days just for preparation. Data preparation was also prone to human errors, considering the manual tasks to be completed. Over time, I was reporting to top management and to sales to provide them the data needed, resulting in an uprising demand of customized reports. So it was getting out of hand. Reports were getting bulkier and there were a lot of requirements. Well, as an employee, I believe in the phrase, you have to work smarter, not harder. So I had this urge to look for solutions that would not only lessen my workload, but also meet the company's need for information and demand. So I started to venture into the data community in Manila since I was based in Cebu. Sa Cebu kasi, it was still not a thing yet, so it was still not booming. So accompanied with my drive and eagerness to learn, I hopped from different vendors to fill my knowledge base on how business intelligence is managed and run. Getting to know the different solutions available and shortlisting them according to the requirements fitting to us. Well, of course, there were obvious investments to be considered in order for the project to run. I had to show top management the need for the company to tap on this advancement to be competitive enough and become more proactive. And also to convince them that the cost will eventually return as an asset to the company and be beneficial in the future. It took me about over a year to totally convince them, and so the project ran. It was a big challenge at first since we had to start from scratch and we were only two in our team. Establishing the process and learning the tool was hard at first, especially if you have no proper training. Since I was eager enough to learn, I attended numerous seminars on business intelligence and also took a short 2-week class in UP regarding business intelligence. So this involved a lot of reading. I have to take exams to pass. I also had a few classes in Ateneo and other training centers in Manila to fully equip me with the sufficient knowledge in the building of a stable and reliable data center to fully equip me with the sufficient knowledge for business intelligence. You have to really show your direct head or boss, your eagerness to learn. And I'm pretty much sure once they see it, they will support you all the way. That's how I got the investment and the expenses paid for. So my willingness and to learn was founded on the fact that this is the career path I wanted. The journey may be a challenging one, but there's no easy path in attaining something. Because after the rain, there's always a rainbow out there somewhere. I started out as a data analyst and I was promoted as senior financial analyst. And now I am the first analytics manager in our company, a department that never existed before and was initiated on my struggles and diligent creation of a well-founded analytics approach to data. Tableau also had its challenges, especially if you try to satisfy different requirements from different departments. You have to really put yourself as the audience to better understand their needs and try to be very resourceful. The Tableau community is one big help and they can really provide solutions to different issues. I also joined some groups in Facebook regarding Tableau. They will also try to help you out there. So the Tableau community is a very responsive one and it's also increasing. Progressive learning is also needed for you to sustain the ever-changing platform of Tableau. In order to cope up with this, I had to attend training sessions outside the country, particularly in Singapore twice. Tableau also gives an opportunity for you to grow in the data-driven community of businesses today. By the time this pandemic ends and travel will be much safer, then I'm expecting more travels and opportunities for learning. For one is the annual Tableau conference, which is held overseas, showcasing new trends in data, features, and physical networking within the Tableau community as well. One thing you have to maintain all throughout your career is data integrity also. Reliance from your users on data truthfulness is one thing to gain their respect and trust, which will correspondingly affect how you'll progress as a professional. My last piece of advice is you have to strive to learn and become the data rockstar your company needs. So that is all I can share about my career in analytics, and I hope you're able to grasp some learnings from my experience. Thank you, and stay safe as always. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sherwin. Shaira, do you have a slides to share?
Yes, I actually do. So
Okay.
I'll start sharing my screen. I'll just share a simple PowerPoint presentation so that it will
Cool.
serve as a visual aid as I go along with my talk. So I'm going to share it to everyone. I hope everyone sees that, can see my PowerPoint.
Yes.
Okay, So, good afternoon, everyone. I apologize in advance because people are active now. I'm in a subdivision, so you might hear background noises. I apologize in advance for that. But anyways, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event for giving me this platform to share my story. So most, if not all of you already have working knowledge in Tableau. Some may be advanced, some beginners. So I would not go so far as to lecture you with the technical side of Tableau. But instead, I want to share with you some of my personal and very human experiences working with our clients in implementing Tableau projects, Tableau dashboard projects. All these experiences contributed to my passion in delivering quality and heartfelt services to my dear colleagues in Pioneer. So, for this afternoon, allow me to share three stories. Today, I want to share the story of how my team, my company, and I have grown over the years. I have resigned from Pioneer exactly 2 months and 1 day ago. I had to make the painful decision to leave for personal reasons. So, in my talk today, I'd like to dedicate this talk to my former employer, like a love letter to the company and people I have come to share valuable experiences with. So, my team, I would like to start sharing with you about my team. Our department is called Knowledge and Information Management, or in short, KIM, KIM. Our department was very new and very lean, and we started our team, as I may say, we do not have defined purpose and objective. So we tend to do all kinds of things related to knowledge and information management. So almost everything has something to do with knowledge and information. So it was really tough to scope in what our department is really meant to do. So we do everything from research, reporting and data, and mostly done manually in Excel or PowerPoint or PowerPoint. We also manage another BI tool that is too rigidly designed for accounting that we do not have much liberty to tweak the reports there and do analytics. But one of our biggest responsibility every month was to produce the MANCOM reports, or the Management Committee Meeting reports, for our institutional and retail organizations. So Pioneer has two organizations, and that's what we service for the MANCOM reports. So what we do is we consolidate the data, mostly in report format and in Excel, and then we create the report, and then we consolidate it again in PowerPoint. So that takes a lot of time. It's really time consuming. It sometimes takes a week to do all those things. So the worst part is sometimes we find ourselves, being flagged during MANCO meetings because some of our data or reports are with errors. They find errors in our report. So we still strive to improve on our process. We try to improve, and we did. But of course, we still had to think long term on how to simplify and possibly automate the creation of this report. And as much as possible, commit no error, because that's really not good. So we started consulting with vendors, and then we presented our problems to them, and then we narrowed our search to two softwares, one of which is Tableau. But we took on the other software because by that time it was still free. So when the other software company announced that they will be charging per license, we had to revisit Tableau again and decide which of the two softwares we will be adopting for good. So our team met, and then we shared our experiences with both softwares. So of course, deep in our hearts and in the perspective of a developer, we know that we really want Tableau because it's easy to use, and they constantly update the software. It has beautiful and very versatile charts, etc. All those things. So we loved Tableau in short. So although Tableau cost more than the other software, we were able to justify why we wanted to go with Tableau. And so we got our approval. And then right away, we used Tableau to semi-automate the generation of the Mancom reports, the one that I was talking about. And so with that, we were able to spend our other time to produce other reports and other dashboards for our other business segments. So it gave us more time, free time to deliver other services for our business segments. By then, we also started migrating the reports and dashboards that we created from the other software to Tableau. And then when we presented this to the clients, our internal clients, they were really pleased. They were really impressed. And then they said that the look was even prettier than the old look. And then that encouraged them to use Tableau more and more. So with this kind of enthusiasm from our internal clients, our spirits were uplifted as a team. So, and at that point, we wanted more and more to spread the word about Tableau in our company. So now, at this point, our team has developed from a directionless department to a department that's specializing in BI and analytics. Implementing Tableau helped us redefine the purpose and objective of our department. Before, people from Pioneer do not know our team, but now we are known as the analytics team. So that's about my team. Now I want to talk about my company, Pioneer Insurance. So Pioneer Insurance has been in service for 60 years. The culture in Pioneer is a mix of old and new culture. Some things are still done like the good old days, but with the forward-thinking leadership of our current owners and top management, Pioneer is slowly embracing innovations that are aided by technology. This is a good thing for our department because since the introduction and growing demands for real-time reporting and dashboards, and especially data analytics and Pioneer, data issues are becoming more and more evident. So luckily, Pioneer took on digital transformation project. This project is still ongoing, and it was a great thing we started this even before the pandemic. The initial phases of DT, or digital transformation, really helped Pioneer through the challenges of the pandemic. But while waiting for the succeeding phases of the DT project that is aimed to address the data architecture issues, IT created a dedicated team for us, for our department, that would create and populate tables back in. And then we would use these tables, link it to Tableau, and then we can create the almost real-time dashboards and reports. So, but most, if not all of the tables that they created for us are complete. So complete that it's so big. We risk loading it in Tableau and making the dashboard slow down. So we didn't want that. We didn't want to compromise the speed of our dashboard. And so we took on the challenge to learn SQL to aggregate the tables and then to just get whatever we want and then do simple calculations. And in the long run, learning SQL really came in handy. So there, with the current setup of IT, we continue to serve our business segments. So our department would invite IT personnel during dashboard presentations and meetings so that they can also appreciate where the data they are preparing for us will be used. This in turn greatly helped in developing the relationship between IT and our department. Tableau in my mind. So our relationship really went more solid when they could see the output of what they are doing. So that's our aim. That's what we aim to do when we started inviting them in those meetings. So in our team, each of us are assigned business segments to focus on. This way, we get to focus and learn on the business of certain products to deliver more effective dashboard In my case, I was assigned in some retail business segments. So in one of my projects with a retail business segment, I presented a Tableau story with so many dashboards. Perhaps I was too enthusiastic to share with them the stories that I came up with, their data, but in the end, I had to streamline the story to make it more concrete and more straightforward. On the same presentation, one of the dashboard contains a tree map. I was confident with my work, but during the presentation, I consumed most of the time explaining how the tree map works. So in the end, I ended up using pie chart instead. Of course, I discouraged them to use pie chart, but as the saying goes, the customer is always right. Sometimes you just can't force yourself into these dashboards and you must honor your client's need because in the end, they will be the one who will use the dashboard. So in one of my last projects with this team, I designed a dashboard based on the color scheme of their product logo. I had to search the HTML code for the exact shade of yellow and dark blue in their logo and used only these colors. Well, instead for, I also used black, red and green, of course, red and green for the up and down trend, something like that in the dashboard. But I also made sure that I use their logo and put it in every dashboard there is. So I was really so inspired during the whole creation process with partial thanks to old school Mariah. Mariah Carey songs playing in the background the whole time. When I presented the dashboard to them, they were really happy and they really felt like the dashboard was their own. So in the end, it was really challenging, but yet very rewarding at the same time. That's about my company. Now, please allow me to talk a little about myself. So in my 5 years in Pioneer, my 5 years in Pioneer has been one of the most transformative phase in my adult life. The Shaira that stepped in Pioneer 5 years ago was a different Shaira that came up. And I am a very different person now in very good ways, I hope. So when I started in Pioneer, I was really clumsy and disorganized and had very little perspective of what my job is or what I want to accomplish in my new company. And honestly, I was often scolded by my boss for even small mistakes. Maybe she was not scolding me during that time, but it surely felt that way. um, Sorry. Okay. So she was scolding me, and at the time, I knew I had to improve. And so I became observant. I observed my boss and I tried to understand what she expects of me. I noticed that she is also quite OC, so I try to be more organized in everything I do, especially in creating dashboard. So my process in creating dashboard is I usually visit Tableau Gallery. Uh, it's a really useful website for inspiration for designs. That's where I go to for inspiration. And then I keep in HTML links handy for color coordinations in my dashboards. And I also go to a link to a collection of graphs and other visualizations such as datavizproject.com. That's very helpful for me, especially when I'm choosing the right visualization for my reports. So this practice of being organized came in very handy when shared services, the organization our department is under, implemented we conduct project management practices in all our projects. I personally saw this as extra work on top of developing dashboards, but I embraced it. And eventually our business segments were happier with our project, not only because of the dashboards, but also with the way projects are handled. So this way with the project management tool, the project objectives, details, timelines are clear, and the clients know what to expect and when to expect it. So all these project management tasks help me improve my interpersonal skills, and I get to talk to many people with different ranks, characters, and personalities, and I have to learn to connect and relate to all of them. So lastly, throughout my professional journey with Pioneer, the heart to serve and customer centricity have been deeply engraved in me. There is no other tool that could have helped us achieve what we have achieved in Pioneer other than Tableau. So let me leave you with a quote from Rabindranath Tagore that deeply resonates in me. Quote, I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. Thank you for listening. That's all.
Thank you so much to both Sherwin and Shaira for your sharing. And I actually really like that quote as well. So now we're going to come into the panel discussion, right? And so for this panel discussion, actually it just means that anybody in the attendees can just ask a question. There is a chat window. There's also a Q&A section. You can just type any questions there. And please, wag po kayong mahiya. This is really meant to be a very, really meant to be a very like open space. I mean, like we're all friends here anyway. So before we're getting set up, I think Sherwin, sorry, okay, so everybody's already on video. I'll just briefly share my story as well. And then we'll kind of jump right into the questions while people are thinking about them. My story is I was actually had nothing to do with data prior to kind of being part of Tableau, in the sense that couple of years ago I was actually in the field of psychology, and my story of how I started is that I was doing research work and I was working in a cafe, and I was late to a lunch with my friend, and we were meeting at that cafe before we went out for lunch. And I was using SPSS. I don't know if anybody has used IBM SPSS before. It's a statistical software for analyzing data as well. And I was typing SPSS codes, and he came by and he kind of asked me, and like obviously we're late, and he said, "Why are you wasting your time on this? Just like use Tableau, right?" And that night I kind of Googled it. I realized I had been wasting time, but I didn't pick it up then. I just kind of eventually kind of made my way into the company. Fast forward, I think in the past 5 years, if I were to share with you in one sentence what, like, how do I say this? What has been the biggest impact of being in the analytics space and being hands-on with data? I think the most impactful experience is the fact that when people come to you and ask you for advice or for consultation or for tips, and you can kind of share knowledge with them and you can bounce ideas off of them, it's a very fulfilling kind of an experience when you know something and you can actually help them. And I guess, I mean, so for example, I've met Elly, Jason, Sherwin, and Shaira. I've worked with them in many capacities, and we brainstorm ideas as well. And I think you keep hearing the word, as an attendee, you keep hearing the word community. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway that I get from this entire experience, is the fact that helping each other out. And when you know something and when you're good at something, people come to you and you feel like you actually can help them. Has been like my favorite experience. All right. I mean, obviously I've grown as well, but I think that's been the most. I've been happy to go with it and help people out as well. So with that, I'm going to help you guys ask questions to the panelists. Please feel free to type them in, whether it's in English, Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, anything's fine.
Okay, while we are waiting for chat questions or raise participants to raise their hands, I would like to acknowledge Sir Valentin Dones, UST professor, and Sir Mike Assis, Elsevier, Philippines Senior Metrics Analyst, and Sir Richard Rodriguez, Optum Data Engineering Consultant. Welcome, welcome guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you as well. So there was one question that just came in, which is, if you're So many times when people many times when people learn data, they watch tutorial videos, but those tutorial videos are not reflective of the actual data work that happens in an organization. Did you face that? And how do you address it? The differences, I'm guessing it's referring to the differences between expectations entering the data world and actually being inside it.
Regarding on my part, we started with data that was quite dirty, so we had to do a lot of cleansing. It was a different data structure compared to those videos that you watch. From there, at the start, I was unable to move forward rapidly since I had to really establish a good database structure, uh, minimizing the star schema approach. We had to combine tables into one to make it easier and to make the loading much faster, of course. Because if you have lots of data, it gets complicated during the development stage of the report. You really need to understand the full structure of your data. So cleansing was a big challenge for us. And still now, we're still doing it since we still see there's still some errors, during the encoding of data. But we're
Yeah,
trying.
got it. And Shaira, I mean, when the Kim team started, it wasn't necessarily data focused, right? Or analytic focused. You probably had to pick up terms like star schema as well, right? How do you reconcile that?
Right. Well, on my part, luckily I have a little bit of background on what to expect from the data, especially when you're working from a data that's sourced from the system. So that is something that I'm happy I have. But when in Pioneer, there was really no concept of data coming from system and then feeding it to a software that will read it and do analytics. There's really no concept like that, and we had to embrace it because that's our reality. And so when we started, it was really more of Excel. Everything is in Excel. So even the data that we had to process through Tableau are in Excel. And the worst thing is it's in report format. So it's not in raw data format. So in the beginning, we really had to clean it up manually. But we realized that, in order to operationalize these things, we really have to demand from the data sources that we had to make a template for all of these data sources. And so we did, but that was too much of an ask because our data sources were still from the business segments. It's weird, right? So it's not from IT. So it should be from data source directly to us. But they extract, what happens in our company is the business segments extract their data and then they create reports and then send it to us for presentation purposes. We did the presentation. So what we did in the long run to really operationalize, especially the Mancom reports, we tried to engage IT. So IT, can you please provide the data instead of the business segments providing it directly to us? Because we really need a clean data and we want it sourced directly to our system. That way, there's no error. Because sometimes when they do manipulate their data, they also commit error. And so we had to redo some of the reports or PowerPoint presentation that we already did. So that was our approach, really. We strictly wanted to get IT support to be the single source of data and not the business segment. So that's our challenge. And that's one of the things that the digital transformation in Pioneer is aiming to do.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. I have a question for Sherwin, right? So Sherwin, you mentioned that in the past four years or so, you moved from a data analyst to senior financial analyst to now analytics manager. And it is a result of persistence, right? It's a result of having this belief that there's that rainbow at the end of the road. And you're, despite people telling you not really, like you're business owners not necessarily agreeing with you, but you felt kind of confident that there was something there. But what's your own individual personal ambition there? I mean, the organization might not have believed in you, so then why not just follow the organization's stance, right? Like why kind of push past that, that kind of push past the current, if you think about it that way.
One drive for me was I really wanted to help the company, because I was seeing them suffering, looking into office personnel doing work that can be automated. I'm the type of person who sees someone suffering. I want to ease their life. So I've done a couple of projects regarding that. So a lot of people have been thankful for that. So that's why it's driving me now to really push and convince top management that this is the right path. This can be helpful and beneficial for the company. So that's how I did it.
Okay, that's quite interesting and very very pleasant to hear actually. Okay, I'll switch gears and take one of the questions from the Q&A this time. It's from John Mauricio. Maybe we'll direct this to Shaira. What is the most interesting visualization you've created using Tableau? Sorry, Shaira, did you hear me? Oh, okay. Maybe she's got disconnected. But I could ask.
Yeah, Shaira, I guess Shaira just got disconnected.
Okay, no worries. So Elly, over to you. I'm gonna ask you that question. What's the? I mean, may not be the most interesting. Maybe even something that
Yeah.
you're the most proud of.
Most interesting and most challenging is the company revenue for this pandemic, uh, because we need to clean up the data. We need to check all those systems because we are working a lot for a lot of customer systems. So we need to check the data integrity for those, and we also consider the one reading the charts. The person reading the chart is the top executive, top management. So they don't want to see any small numbers or small systems that we captured. So they want to see the big picture of the company. So for us, business intelligence analyst, it's the most challenging part because we want to show uh, what's the company for now. And Jason and I are working closely in delivering those charts. We we are creating standards for these charts. For example, we are creating the standards on how to show the charts or the bar charts, the bar charts or the donut pie charts for everything that regards to visualization. We create the standards for that so that the top management, top executive will look for us both who did this, and I want this person to do this in the different brands that we have. So that's the main takeaway for us. Yeah, that's challenging and for us for our careers. Thanks.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So the revenue during the pandemic, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
that's probably the most valuable thing for the business right now at
Yes.
Emerson, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I think Shaira was able to come back. So Shaira, there was a question here. I'm gonna phrase it slightly differently because Elly just answered it, but I'll ask you. What is the most, how do I say this? What's the visualization that you think has been most impactful? Something that you have created, something that you feel has really impacted your team, your business at Pioneer, something that you're proud of? Ooh, okay. I think I'm not sure if Shaira is actually
I'm
getting
sorry,
disconnected
Mrinal.
or
Hello?
hiding from the questions.
Right. I'm sorry. It got choppy, but what I took from your question is that you wanted to ask if what visualization was most impactful for me.
Yeah, something
So
that you
I
made
hope
that
you
was
can hear
impactful.
me right now. I'm so sorry with my
Yes, we can
connection.
hear you.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I hope you can hear me right now. I'll try to answer it right now.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, I think on top of my mind, what I can share was one of the visualization dashboard that I created for the retail segment. So I work with very young people. And so this guy, the one leading the claims department, so he was young and he was really, into basketball. So as I was talking to him, he brought up about basketball and NBA, and then he wanted to see the stats of his claims personnel. And so we said, why not do like an NBA stat in the dashboard? Can I ask for some pictures of your claims evaluator so that we can, post it there and then see if they're doing well in their claims evaluation this week or whatever. And so when we finished that dashboard, they were really like, when I showed it to them, they were really laughing at each other, like, oh, your claims evaluation is so low. And then it was really something that, resonates with me because that's creating connection. That's creating reaction from the clients. And that was just, simple and happy interaction with my client. So yeah, that is the experience that I can relate to your question. The NBA sort of stat in the dashboard for the claims evaluation team. I hope
Cool.
you got all of that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Cool.
Actually, I mean, you know what? That's a good question that we should let everybody ask. Is there any, or let everybody answer? Elly, Jason, or Sherwin, is there any visualization you've made that nothing to do with work, maybe, something of a hobby or something like that? I would love to hear about it.
I've done a lot of visualizations, which I also created for fun. There was I forgot. I think it's a graph about pipes, the distribution pipes. It was a very hard one, but one thing I enjoy about Tableau is I usually get inspirations from the Tableau public. They have this amazing dashboards that I really wanted to replicate for our company. And so far, I've done a number of them. It was hard, but I think we could cope with it. The one thing, the most challenging one was with the how do you convert um, figures into particular dates like YTD, MTDs, the past 3 months. It was a challenging one because you have to really, it's like cooking. You have to, your raw materials, you have to cook it properly for your customer. So you have to make a lot of metric calculations with it. With the help of Tableau community, I was able to do it. So I'm really thankful for the community.
Excellent. And I'll even add something there for my own answer as well, because there's two more questions. I think the most interesting visualization I made was, I don't know if you know this, but on WhatsApp, if you go in the top right of any chat, you can click on export chat and it produces a CSV, right? I've done that to analyze the chat between myself and my girlfriend, to actually see who sends more messages, and who texts first and stuff like that, to be the geek and as well in the relationship. So I mean, it's worth trying that out if you're just playing with Tableau. It's a fun experiment. Not always positive results, by the way, depending on what you find. Anyways, there's some other questions here. So there's one from Justine. What are the most useful tools, apps, or processes that complemented using Tableau? And I'll leave this for anybody to answer. Maybe Jason, you haven't had a chance to go speak yet. Complement the Tableau, any tools or apps or processes?
Mrinal, maybe I'll try to answer just very simple because it was really helpful for me as I mentioned in my talk to use SQL because when you're really because I started learning it for just to simplify the table and just aggregate it to whatever I needed. But when you actually learn some of the computations done in that could be done in SQL that could really complement, the speed of your dashboard if you do the computations back in SQL. So that because when I took on one of the retail segments, it really has, almost billions of records. And then if you crunch it with the use of SQL, that really helped a lot. So that for me, SQL was one of the tool that complemented me and my work with Tableau.
Excellent. Thank you, Shaira. There's one question. This is more, I think, probably directed towards Sherwin. What is your advice to enhance your level of knowledge of Tableau if you are busy with admin tasks and people management? I'm a supervisor and we are using Tableau, but due to the multiple tasks, I have limited time to enhance my knowledge. I'm usually dependent on my team to work on Tableau reports.
I think you should uh, prioritize or hand particular time for you to learn Tableau, 1 to 2 hours per day. Uh, do the phasing from beginner to advanced skill level. These can all be seen through if you subscribe in a YouTube channel Tableau. So I think the most important thing is you have to be practicing Tableau. You should be on hands on it because if you learn it today, maybe by the next few days you'll really forget about it if you're not using Tableau. So you need to have a hands-on experience for you to really fully understand the ways around Tableau. So that's how I did it. And that's how also I was able to teach my team much better because I have a full understanding of how it works. So I also give them the opportunity to learn by themselves, and then if ever they have an issue, I will try to help them. So that's the way to familiarize with Tableau and be an expert on it. Just your eagerness to learn and more hands-on experience. That's all.
Excellent, excellent. And it kind of matches with what you had mentioned earlier, right? I mean, you have to kind of demonstrate that eagerness to learn as well, right? Because not only is it helpful for your team, it also illustrates to your management why you believe in something, right? So there's a question, and this one I think is probably a good one for Shaira. It's more about like people, right? In your experience, what is the most difficult aspect of transitioning from traditional reporting, so tabular, Excel, PPT, like you mentioned, Shaira, to Tableau, like dashboards, etc., in a user experience perspective? How do you handle that change process in your organization?
Wow, it is really tough, and we recognize that it's a process for our company. The good thing about it is that when you show Tableau to Excel only users, they're really like, wow, wow, you can do this, you can filter this. Oh my God, those kinds of reactions, those are really genuine, happy reactions about the dashboards that we are showing them. So that's the good side of it. But the bad side is that, sometimes they're scared of the new technology. So even if we're telling them, you can use this, you can actually do your own exploration of your data, but in the beginning they really hesitate, and so they ask us to convert screenshot or convert the dashboards into PowerPoint because they're scared of click click click. So it was a process, and we still push, you can do this when you're presenting to our outside client using this presentation, you can just, when they have questions, you can explore it on your own. So you really had to push that to create this culture of you not being scared of technology. So up until now, with the retail segment that I was working with, I'm lucky that the people there are young. So although at times they still ask me to convert it to PowerPoint, but I now at this point I showed them how to convert it to PowerPoint because it's very easy, and so they do it. But I think at one point they did use Tableau in one of their presentation with the client, so that is a win for us. But as I said, it's a process. You really have to push them to use the technology, otherwise they will waste the money we paid for the license. So that was our experience with our users.
Excellent, excellent. And I think, I mean, thanks so much for sharing that. I think I just want to conclude at least the panel discussion with just by saying thank you so much to both Shaira and Sherwin. I know that we're running out of time, and I know that Elly has a concluding remark and especially a token of appreciation. Before we go, I just want to encourage people, we're going to type the Facebook group link in the chat window. The best thing that we can ask from you, the number one thing that we'll ask from you is, what do you want out of the next and future Tableau user group sessions? What topics? Feel free to post it in the Facebook group chat as well. We're all part of the same community, so thank you so much. Elly?
Yes, sure. Feel free to post some of your topics. So maybe if you want to elaborate more on Sherwin's experience on how he did the advancement of tools in his company, we can request Sir Sherwin to provide us more detail. That would be another topic for that. For example, how we did in data centers in procuring these advanced technologies for his company. So it for us uh, data consultants, analysts, trainers, we need to provide these justifications to our top management so that we can use the Tableau tools, Tableau advanced tools, and be 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 our own driver of our own career. So, like Sherwin did, and like Miss Shaira, she explains the purpose and objectives of the reports. On the past few years, they have no objectives, so she explains, and it is important for us. Also I'm doing a chart for top executives. I'm also asking some stakeholders what kind of data you want to see, because there's a lot of data, there's a lot of realization in data and a lot to report. So you should ask your top management, your boss, your peers, your colleagues, stakeholders of the business, what kind of data are you looking at? And for us data analysts, business intelligence engineers, and senior metrics training specialists, we need to provide this kind of level of data realization and visualization. Okay, so much for that. I would like to share screen again. Share screen, and then thank you, Mrinal, for joining us. And okay, Q&A is done, and Tableau User Group Manila presents this certificate of appreciation Team Ceballo for sharing her valuable insights, knowledge, and expertise to the members of Manila. As its resource speaker on the top of my career in analytics during the Tableau User Group virtual meetup held via Zoom video conferencing platform presented this 18th day of February 2021. Thank you, Ms. Shaira. And also Sir Sherwin Sanico, Tableau User Group Manila presents this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Sherwin Sanico for sharing his valuable insights, knowledge, and expertise to the members of Tableau User Group Manila as its resource speakers on the topic of my career in analytics during the Tableau User Group virtual meetup held via Zoom video conferencing platform presented this 18th day of February 2021. So signed yours truly and Jason Chung, TUG, Tableau User Group Manila leaders.
Thank you, Elly.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaira and Sherwin.
So Mrinal, any last few messages for our members?
Nope. Just want to say thank you.
Okay. Jason? Celine?
Nope.
Okay, so
Thank you so much. And yeah, I just wanted to say again a big thank you to our guest speakers, Sherwin and Shaira, Elly, Jason, Mrinal. Thank you all so much for your time in making this meetup a very good one. Thank you.
thank you. Have a great day. Have a
Everyone.
good evening.
Hey.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe
Bye.
and take care.